Right. Before I get started, I'll just do a quick mic check to make sure you can actually hear me, because it'd be real lame to do this whole thing and not be heard at all. Let's see, that is a fun shadow right on my head. Can I do better than that? No more shadow. Hello, everyone. Hopefully that's not too glary. I don't have like the craziest setup here, but as long as I don't have a huge head shadow over the board where I'm working, it should be fine. I can hear you, sweet. Thank you very much. We can go even. We can hear you perfect. Okay, so I'm going to first make sure on the other screen here that the YouTube stuff is working, which, I mean, you guys can hear me, so it's got to be a good sign. Okay. I think it's all going good. Well, at least you can hear me. So, the plan for this stream, if you did not look at the... Well, actually, hang on. Is that right? It should be... Yeah, it should be making a head tracker. I'm just making sure in YouTube it's getting it right. Every time I live stream, I do it something else. Cool. Make sure it's pulled up here. Okay. So yeah, like the title and the thumbnail says, we're making a head tracker, and that's because I made a head tracker in the past, made a video about it, and then I gave that out to somebody, and then somebody else wanted one, so I figured I could just make another one. So I got all the parts here. I've actually got the video tutorial on how this all happened up on a different stream, but it's also in the description if you want to go watch it yourself and not wait for me to go through everything. But yeah, these are all the parts you need. It's all pretty simple. It's just 3D printed parts case. I will put this on Thingiverse. It's just I can't find the right file, or at least I can find the G code for this file, which is what you need to print. It's just like I forget the other name for the file, but I can put this on Thingiverse. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You need to file it a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty easy. And then a audio jack, a barrel connector for power, the Arduino board, which this time it's an Arduino Rev 2, which you need to do a few different things, but for the most part, it's all the same. How much would it cost to make one and get it shipped out to me? Well, it depends on how much the board costs. It's pretty much whatever the board costs plus, I don't know, probably around $50. Like, that's $50 seems about fair, just because it's custom printed stuff and some kind of complicated wiring. But for the most part, it's pretty simple. If you're curious about it, feel free to reach out on Discord. Just message me. I'd be happy. I'll come up with an actual price. I don't remember how much this board actually costs, so I might be undercutting myself a whole lot if this costs like $45. But either way, it's not the craziest thing. Oh yeah, you need a button too, but that's pretty cheap. But yeah, I'll get started here. So yeah, I'm following along with my own tutorial here, and I'll also throw up on screen here. We are at 994 subscribers, which you can see right there. If you aren't subscribed and you want to help us get to 1,000, that is a live updating. Oh, what's my Discord? Great question. It's on the. It's not in the description of this stream. But if you go to our YouTube channel, there'll be a link to our Discord. You can join there. I should have that in the description. But this is live and updating. So if you do subscribe, it'll update at least in theory. So that's just kind of a fun little thing we added. But without any further ado, the first step is getting this barrel connector unsoldered and all torn apart, because this is going to go into this port here, and we're going to screw it in. And if we don't want these long wires, in fact, we want these really small skinny wires that will transfer power from this barrel into our board. So I've got a soldering iron here. I've also got different angles. The board is $25. Okay. There are other boards. Benio, thanks for the question. There are other people who make these. or at least similar ones. I think Motion Sick makes them. The difference is our board has everything incorporated into this little adapter case, so all your barrels and everything are going to be right here. There's no dangling wires going to the board. I guess there are wires coming out, but everything is really well encased, and it slides onto the side of your goggles with this little clip. So there isn't a shop right now, but if there is a super high demand, I can make like an Etsy shop or something where you can purchase them, and I can get making them. Sweet, Know Your Joe, thanks for joining the Discord. But yeah, there are other people. Other people make similar ones, but nobody makes this custom double barrel 3D printed one. So yeah, that's good questions. But again, we got to start with taking this barrel connector apart, and this comes in a big set here that you can get on Amazon. All the links should be in the description too. But this is just a pack of like 6 female and 6 male connectors, and then you can just solder them all in here. So if you do want to do it yourself, there is a whole tutorial. I'm going to be kind of running through this and doing that as well. But we can switch to here, and I'll get the soldering iron going because we do need to cut off these wires. You can't see that. Where even is... Why is that camera not doing anything? All right, we're back here. Well, thank you very much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. That should mean that subscriber total ticks up, hopefully. That was the whole goal, at least. If it doesn't, that's lame. But is that what it should be? So if it doesn't, I'll just take it away, and it won't be misleading. But this is now up to temperature, and I'm going to just cut off this heat shrink and then desolder. It should be pretty straightforward. The tools that I need aren't just going to disappear, but that smells like it's on, and it is. Okay. So, it is. Okay, sweet. It is live. It just changed to 995. It must just take a couple of moments to tick up, but that's awesome. We have another subscriber. So we're 5 away now. So yeah, all I'm going to do is take this little wire cutter and cut off the heat shrink. See, I always have to figure out what side to put this camera on because I'm left-handed, which only matters sometimes. But I want to make sure you guys aren't getting just straight forearm the whole time. So just cutting off a little bit of heat shrink. And again, we are cutting this off so we can put a lot of smaller wires on so we can actually fit in this casing. Otherwise, it would just not work. So we can go there. And then we can go again with the hand. I wonder if I just move this more in the middle. Sorry if that's really shaky all of a sudden. But I can go here. Oh, that might be good. Okay, sweet. Careful not to just have it slip and poke yourself. But other than that, we've got... Thought that was going to come off. It did not. Oh, 996. We are now 4 away. We not only need the subscribers, but we also need some watch hours. But that's a whole other story. So now that we have it stripped off, we can now do a little bit of soldering, or I guess desoldering in this case. I'm going to grab a set of tweezers, which again have disappeared. Okay, so what I'm going to use are these handy dandy hands, which I bring it up every time, but they're a really awesome tool if you know someone in RC or something that's just really small, kind of finicky soldering stuff. It's really nice to just clip it in and not have to deal with your fingers being almost burned. I'm actually going to clip it on the other side so I can pull these wires out like that. Make sure everything is still looking good. I should really have a light kind of behind me facing on it, but we'll fix that later. So I'm going to take my soldering iron and my tweezers, and all I'm going to do is apply heat and pull. Hopefully that comes right off. Sweet. That is good wire, so you don't have to get rid of it, but we just won't be using it for this project. And then just do the same thing for this red wire. And remember, the red wire is coming out of this middle pin. Black is on the outer pin. I need to catch up. Will you try to do... Well, sweet. Thank you. So we're going to do the same thing here. And... there. Both of our wires are disconnected. And again, good wires, but too big for fitting in this small case. So we've got our barrel plug, which is going to give us power. And I'm also going to fast forward on the video just to make sure I don't miss any steps. I did actually pre-configure this board because I was going to do that on stream, but there is only a PC UI to do this, and I'm streaming on Mac right now, and so I couldn't do both. So I just set it up. It was pretty straightforward. It's like just follow the tutorial. It was exactly the same. So I won't do that on stream just because I can't physically, at least with the current streaming setup. But other than that, oh yeah, we need to cut this long black little arm. Cut it shorter just so it doesn't hit the sides of this barrel here. So that's also easy. You just take wire cutters. And like I said in the tutorial, this might launch. It hit behind me somewhere. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's gone. But either way, I'm now going to solder a little strip of this black wire. I'm going to get my completed head tracker here. Just as a form of showing what we actually needed to do. So again, this barrel connector is this barrel connector. You can see the wires come out of the bottom here and go to the power on this bottom corner. So we need, it's not a whole ton of wire, but we do need a little bit. So if I just kind of roughly eyeball it, because I'm pretty sure these two go to this bottom corner here. So it's not like we need a whole ton. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to measure it so I can, like, when I go build another one of these in the future, I know exactly how much I have. Every one of these is an inch, so I've got maybe inch and 3/4 ish. So in case you're doing this at home and you don't know the exact wires, it's about an inch and 3/4. And so I'm going to pull these wires apart. I'm going to strip and tin and solder them onto this barrel connector. I also need an actual pair of strippers. I just have a bunch of wire cutters that I use. So, Christmas list. Okay, that should be fine. I'm going to have one side of these wires have a little more that gets stripped and one that gets a little less because the board side doesn't need as much wiring, or the board side doesn't need as much space to solder to than this barrel connector. So that's at least how I'm going to do it here. And then do that. Also, let me know if at any point the angles you're getting aren't good, or like my arms are too close or something, just so I can move things around. I think this is better than what I had it beforehand, because then you don't see my forearm. This is why I need an actual set of strippers, because I'm just... There we go. But just going through. Did I do it? No. This is part that you usually not see. I just cut out all the attempts I'm making. But there we go. We got both sides stripped, and we are good on that front. Okay, so I'm going to tin them up. Where is my flux? Over here. Flux, and I've got this. I'm almost out of the TBS solder I always use and would really recommend. It's TBS solder. These are all the specs. Tin lead 6337. 1.8% flux. I tried to find one that exactly matched it with this roll, and it kind of does. This TBS solder is still a lot better in my opinion, But I've also got this, which came with the soldering iron. Wait, copper, tin, lead. Okay, that's not even the same stuff. So I'll try this. Or no, I've got some solder remaining. So I've got this much solder left. But this stuff works really well. So I'm going to keep using it, and I'll just get another barrel of this once I actually run out. So all we need to do is tin and prep these wires, which means sticking them in the flux, both ends. And then using a soldering iron with a little bit of solder on it. And just touch them. It's just getting the solder to stick to the wires. Try not to breathe any of that in, because I don't think it's good for you, but don't take my word for it. Is this going to be too bright if I turn this light? No, but it gives some cool shadows. Okay. That's probably better. So I'm going to keep, or no, I know what's next. We're going to take this barrel connector, and again, red is in the middle, and black is on this edge. So what I'm going to do is actually solder. See how right now there is solder on the outside of this pin. I'm going to try to solder it to the underside, just so we have a little extra space to work with. If that doesn't make sense, just give me a second. I'll show you what I mean. I'll start with this red wire and this red pad. I'm going to take the side that is a little more exposed, and it should be a pretty quick touch here. And just like that. So this red wire is nice and on, and then I'm going to do the same to the black wire, but this time it's going to be on the underside, so there isn't any existing solder there, so I'm going to add some myself. So it's going to be on this underside. I probably should have done the black wire first. See, I'm adding it on that underside, and then just a quick solder. Just let it flow, and then we've got both of our wires look pretty connected in there. As you can see, they're looking nice, nothing's touching. And I'm going to quick put some heat shrink on there, but I should make sure that it's going to be long enough if they go through into this barrel. Oh yeah, because that's going to screw in, and then this board is going to sit like this, and the power is on this side. So yeah, that'll have enough space. Looking good. So heat shrink is next. Of course, we've got the heat shrink little pack. Oh, we're up to $9.98. I missed like 2. I probably won't call out every single one, but up until 1,000, I think that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to make sure this is big enough. It is. Oh, it is. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to take this. I have no idea what size this is. It doesn't say on there, but I'm just going to take just a little bit. We don't need a whole lot. That actually might be too much that I just cut. Just a little bit, because we don't want any extra. So yeah, I'll measure it even. So if you're making it at home, it is, I don't know, 1/4 inch, maybe a little less, but either way, just slide that on here all the way down to the end so that it's covering all of the wiring and all the joints, because we don't want any of this touching the board or anything else. And then I've got a heat gun here because I'm a professional. I already had it set up, but it's going to be a little like hair dryery for a minute maybe, so I'm sorry, turn your volume down if you don't want it to be loud, but just going to heat shrink this. That is also hot, believe it or not, so I can't just hold it. Okay. So yeah, the whole point of the heat shrink is just to cover up all these joints, and as you can see, there's no part of the red or black that could ever touch, at least on that end, so just keeping it safe. If those are the reset buttons I gave you, one of them is from my Try Me button from our door Christmas wreath. Yeah, it is. So that's kind of funny. Good way to reduce and reuse. But yeah, that should fit in really nice. So let's see what in the video. If you're following along in the video as well, I'm at like the 10-minute mark, and it looks like soldering the power wires, installing the power plug. It looks like the next step that we are on. I think, yeah, we are. Okay, so that just means we're going to not need the soldering iron for just a second. What we're going to do is fish these wires in. I'm going to give them a little bend to start. I forgot that the camera's right here. We bend it in, put it into the bigger barrel because it won't fit in the smaller one. And then once it gets all the way down, we're actually going to screw this in because there are threads here and it should fit in nicely like that. You won't be able to do it by hand, or if you do, you're really strong. But just get a pliers and just really slowly screw it in place. I'm just making sure it's all aligned like that way. But then just carefully and slowly screw it in. And if you hear any like cracking, that's the plastic, or that's like the PLA cracking. So just slowly screw it in. But that's going to screw all the way in. It's going to leave us with a nice looking exterior of this. Did I just hear cracking? Yes. Where did I hear that from? Is it fine to discontinue? Oop. Make sure we don't have any more cracking. Although I could just take this out and just sand it a bit so it's a little wider to begin with. But I think we should be fine. Ooh. As you can see, we're just slowly screwing it into this back part. And that's another benefit of using our design over other people's. They use a little bit bigger joints that stick out further, so this thing that'd be sitting on your head is a little bit bigger and a little heftier. Ours is really light and really small, and all the wires fit really nice, and they flow, or the wires flow away from your body instead of straight down and like running into your arm. So another reason to use ours. We are almost all the way screwed in, and we can screw it all the way down until this is touching this base part. Oop. We are almost there. Alright, so as you can see, this is all the way down to touching this barrel, which is why... Oh, we're at 1,000! We're at 1,000 subscribers! Yay! Everyone's here, so if you're here, you're a part of hitting the 1,000 subscribers. I didn't see it as it happened, but go us, we did it. So, we'll just continue on. Hip hip hurrah, we made it to 1,000. Gotta get sponsor me real. Hey, I'm trying. So, well, I'm happy. We made 1,000. We're not gonna stop here. Fire up. Glad everyone can be here. So, yeah, I'm also glad the live subscriber total is actually working. So, that's super fun. Pop off, King. Okay, well. We'll keep chugging along. Oh, that is super exciting. So shout out to all the Inverted Aviator people who are a part of this, because it's been 91 videos I checked, and that's, we've done one video a week for 91, or no, one video a week. We've only missed 2 weeks, which goes back, what, almost 2 years? Which is kind of wild to think about. But yeah, 1,000. That's super exciting. All right, we'll keep chugging along, but I appreciate all of the fun comments and the nice comments. But we've got a project to do. So, barrel connector, or the power connector, is all installed here. It's really clean. I also, side note, I went with gray here, or black. That's no real reason. It was just on the spool of the 3D printer, so I went with black. This is the gray one. If you want to buy one, just let me know. I've got white, black, gray, green, and orange, I think. So just let me know. Also, we can just talk about that in the Discord if you want one, but we got a whole bunch of colors. I think black actually looks really slick because if it's going to be right next to the DJI camera, like black looks really slick. So just let me know what color you want if you want to buy one. But yeah, so we got these wires coming through. I'm going to keep watching the tutorial here on the side. The signal plug. Okay. That's also going to be a pretty easy one. We've got this signal plug, which is what's going to take the signal from the Arduino board to your transmitter, and it needs an audio jack because the transmitter has an audio jack trainer port. And I've just got to quick see here which cable is power. Actually, you can just look on here. Can I maybe? Okay, so it looks like the right side. Ooh, I should really make sure that's correct. Okay. Again, thank you very much, everybody. It's super fun to do all this stuff, and we actually made it to 1,000, so that's super nice. Let's see. I had it really quick zoomed in of what the soldering should look like. And the whole point of that was so in the future when I don't know what I'm talking about, I can reference it. Show the zoom in. Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay, we've got, it looks like the bottom one is gotta be ground, and then power nothing. So I'm gonna assume that's right. And again, I don't have all that much, I don't need all that much wire here. So let's see, it needs to go from in here. So now we're working on this black plug. So it's going here and then onto this far side. So that might need to be about the same. I'll make 2 inches of wire. I mean, that's probably going to be more than we need, but it's better to have a little more than a little not enough. So the same process here of just stripping and tinning all the wires. Lots of static, hard to hear you. Alright, I appreciate it. Okay, suddenly getting static. I'll make sure. I'll pause here. A lot of static. Okay. Let me know. I won't continue. Let me know if the static went away. I haven't really changed anything. Let me know if it gets better. I'm getting word there's a lot of static. Still there. Wonder what happened. I didn't change anything. Static's still there. I don't think I did anything. Still there. Okay, I do appreciate it. I'll disconnect the mic. A little staticky. Still staticky? Still there? Still there? It should be coming through this snowball mic. It's gone? Gone now? Alright, sweet. Thanks. I have no idea what happened. But, cool. We will continue on. Based. Don't know what that means, but I'm going to make... So I'll just go over what I'm doing again. Barrel connector, or audio jack connector is going to give signal from our Arduino board to our transmitter, because the transmitter has a audio jack, and that's how we can transmit signal. It's very similar to how we set up this power connector, and I'm going to give myself 2 inches of wire. That should be more than enough, I'm guessing, but if you're making it at home, I'm starting with 2 inches. I'm going to strip and tin just like I did for the power connector. Thankfully, we didn't lose a subscriber with the static. So, there we go. That side and this side. Okay. Sorry if this is difficult to watch me struggle with the stripping. But okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. Okay, stripped one of them. All right, that was difficult. At some point, I'm going to start using a actual tool to strip these wires, and it's going to be so easy, but until then you have to watch me struggle. And I'm pretty sure I've determined that the long tab on this jack is ground, and then this one, the one on the left, is power, and I should just keep double checking that, because that'd be real lame if it just didn't work because of that. Let's see. I'm trying to just match it up with the one I have. Is it this? Yes, that should be correct. Okay. So, similarly to what we did before, I'm going to clip this in, and we're going to do a little bit of soldering. We should do the, I guess it doesn't really matter, because I can just rotate it, but I'll do the black one first. Again, get a little bit of flux here, and flux up this pad. Out of there. There we go. And on the wire. Ah, that was there. I'll be patient this time. Okay, that's a good joint. And I'll do the same thing for the red, which is again on this side. If you want a better explanation of how this whole thing works, we do have a YouTube video that goes over everything in much greater detail. This is just, I wanted to make this on stream to show that it doesn't take all that long, especially if you're more focused than I am. Got that on. Did I even tin and prep these? I don't think so. Okay. Again, those wires are pretty easy. I think I just bonked into the mic. Hello, everyone who's just joining. We're making a head tracker. So we've got those wires on, and we're going to do the same thing we just did with the heat shrink, because we don't want those wires touching anything. So I'm going to take, again, do I have small pieces so I don't have to cut a brand new one? I do. Nice. But yeah, this big kit of, would you recommend the Turbo Timber Evo or the Crescendo? Wow. That is a great question. Mostly because I think our videos are mostly about those two planes. That is a great question. I would probably go with the Evo over the Crescendo. And I'm trying to think of a good reason why. Mostly because the Evo has got a really cool landing gear, so you can do cool touch and goes. Like in the last video, or at least a while ago, you can plant the mains on the Evo, put a little bit of forward elevator to keep them planted, and then just goose it, and then the plane just rips, like goes really fast on the ground. I really like the touch and goes, and the flaps. I am a sucker for flaps, especially on small planes. It is so cool. And in our most recent really popular video when I was flying and the cop showed up, but before that, I did a flight flying super fast and acrobatic and aerobatic, excuse me. You can do knife edges, you can go inverted, you can fly really crazy. And then I turned on the flaps or deployed the flaps, and you can fly so slow and just putz around. So I'd say the Evo, it's just so cool. The only reason, or the reason it's so hard to say definitively, is because the Crescendo is also awesome. Like, it's such a close second because it goes about 60 miles an hour on 4S. It's just such a cool plane by itself. We did a comparison of 3S versus 4S on both these planes. But yeah, I put Evo as 1 and Crescendo as like as close as you can get to a second place without being first place. They're so cool still. And you can throw a camera on either one and get them working. So they're both awesome. Great question. That's a hard one. If you're brand new to flying, I'd go with the Evo just so you can work on landing instead of just belly landing, although it's pretty similar. But yeah, I go Evo. I'm also going to heat shrink, so it's going to be a little loud. Hopefully this isn't the static or like the sustained static, but I'm going to heat shrink here for a second. Okay. Sorry about that. I have the regular UMX Timber before the Evo. Just got the Crescendo using inverted. Oh, nice. Well, thanks. Yeah, we don't have the UMX Timber or the Timber X, which the Timber X looks awesome because it's got a big old like full wing aileron. I think, if I'm thinking of the right plane. But thanks for using our links. Yeah, we get a little chunk of the Amazon revenue if you use our links. So we really appreciate that. But yeah, I've got both. One of them's I just actually brought to Tennessee. That's the video coming out on Sunday, is me flying in Tennessee at the in-laws' house, and they've got a really cool property. I was flying around. But the Crescendo, whatever you want to call it, it packs up a little bit easier, or can fit into a smaller box because it can come apart more. So if you're traveling more and you want to fit the plane into a smaller box, the Crescendo does that better, if that's something you care about. If not, don't worry about it. I think I've got this in the right orientation. I don't want to clip that off until I'm 100% sure. But if we put this to how it was on this, I think that's right. So we got that there. I'm going to continue playing this video. And did I do that right? Installing the signal plug. Okay, yeah. I was wondering, because I wanted to get a new Evo, but I was wondering if it would be good to try the Crescendo. They're both such a good option. If you have, well, I don't even know how to clarify. They both have a really good niche of like the Evo can land. Yeah, I'd go with the Evo. It's still, it's so cool, and it's really rugged. Plus, it has lights on it. It's got like wingtip lights, an underlight, and a top light. You can also do 4-cell if you want. It has a little bit of P factor with 4-cell. It's still really cool. It's got flaps. UMX Ultrix. I've never flown that one. I have heard really good things about it too, the Ultrix. But yeah, I'd go with the Evo, just because I haven't flown the Ultrix. But yeah, it's so cool. We have links for everything. We've got obviously videos for the Evo a ton, just because as a first plane, it's actually our logo. It's kind of fun fact. I say it all the time, but it's still kind of a fun fact. But back to this head tracker, since I've been sidetracked a little bit, but that's totally fine. It's great questions. I'm going to twist these wires together a little bit to keep them together. and then I'm going to do just like the first barrel connector. I'm going to slide it in until we get to the threads, and I'm going to screw the threads in. I might be able to do this one with my hands because they're just plastic threads versus the metal threads. What are my favorite things about the Concendo? Oh, right, I didn't go over that. Well, first, it's super easy to fly. Actually, before I say that, see how both of these barrels are completely flat on the top, or at least you know that they're already screwed in when they're flat on the top. So you can see that's another thing about ours. Very pleasing to the eye because it's very nice and everything's suited in. You got our wires. So we'll pause for there. What are my favorite things about the Concendo? It flies really easily. I'm getting a warning saying something's up with the stream. The stream is something or another. Do I care about that? I'll keep going. Let me know if there's more static or something. But the Concendo flies really easily. It has to hand launch, but you just throttle it all the way up and toss it, and it's awesome. You can glide really, really well. Obviously, it's a glider. I made a glide mode, so when you flip a switch, it sets the elevator back quite a bit, so you can just fly flat. You don't have to always have the your thumb on the elevator stick. So you can have a really cool fly mode. I threw on a yaw string, so you can tell where the relative air is flowing over the plane, so you can always point your plane in the right direction to find the wind. Not only that, but sorry, my wife just texted me saying we hit 1,000 subscribers, so that's awesome. So yeah, the Concendo, you can add a lot of things to that are relative to a glider. But not only can the Concendo fly like a glider, it can fly like the craziest aerobatic plane ever because it can go so fast, and it has pretty big control surfaces because of how wide the wingspan is. It is super flippy and it can fly like crazy. So just because it's a glider doesn't mean it can't be aerobatic. That's why I like the Concendo so much. And it's also green, my favorite color. Anyways, it's super flippy and flying fast. It flies really well with a 4-cell battery. Like the Evo has a lot of P factor. The Concendo doesn't. Like it just flies like a rocket. And then the only downside is you have to belly land, which I'm not great at landing anyway. So I've landed a little hard a few times. Not any hard enough to break it, but just a little harder than I would have wanted to. So yeah, they're both such cool planes. And when the Concendo came out, we were like, we have to get this plane. We pre-ordered it. We got it. We added on the camera. I think we're the first people to throw on a little camera, which is also kind of cool. But it's such a cool plane. Like, they're all really nice, the Evo and the Concendo. So saying which one would you rather pick, like, if you eventually just get them both. They fly differently enough that they're cool to have both, but they're both just awesome little flyers. So they're both really cool, in short. The Yomic Ultras has installed LED light kit. Oh, that's cool too. You can fly better at night. And the Wolf Whoop cameras we have, they fly with very little light needed. Like, we've flown really late at night. We've got videos on that. It looks really cool too. So yeah, they're both awesome. What's next? Adding the button, it looks like. The button is a little harder. Have you tried the Real Flight RC simulator? Yes. Real Flight 9.5, I think. Real Flight Evolution, maybe it's called. Yes, that I have gotten that. Before I flew the Corsair ever, I bought that plane in the simulator because I wanted to get good at it. I would highly recommend getting it. I don't think we got a link for it or anything. I could probably find one. But yeah, if you are new to flying, get this simulator first because it's a lot easier to crash a program than it is to crash a plane. Or it feels better to crash a program. But yeah, you can buy the Evo, the Concendo, the Corsair. Those are all in the simulator. Do you say that there was links to buy the planes? Yes. In all of our videos, whatever plane we're flying, there are links to those planes. Not in this stream, there won't be any. There'll be links to all these parts, but not to the planes. So if you go back to like any video where we fly the Evo, in the description there'll be a affiliate link. So if you buy it off Amazon through our link, we'll get a little chunk of the commission. Least expensive to learn. Yes, it is so much less expensive to learn on a simulator. I've crashed that Corsair when trying to land it so many times, and thankfully I haven't crashed it that many times. I've crashed it a few times, but still, yes, go with the simulator first. The Real Flight Evolution, I think it's 9.5. It works really well. So I would go with that one, just because I've used it. I don't have anything against other ones, but that's at least what I'm doing. So next to install is this button, which is right here. And the way we can actually test this is with a multimeter, which should be somewhere around here. Now, here we go. So, you might be wondering how do I solder this button in? Because we're using this, we're using the button to center the head tracker. So once you sit down and you're ready to fly, click the button to center it, and then you can, it'll like set in the right spot. So we're gonna take a multimeter here. Oh yeah, the beauty of the simulators, you don't have to fix it after you crash. You just reset and it's back to normal. So I'm gonna take a multimeter here. I'm putting into continuity mode, and I'm gonna touch two of these wires together, ones that I haven't folded. So if we go touch this side and touch this side, we don't get anything, right? There's obviously no continuity flowing, but then if we click the button down, we are completing the circuit with the button clicked, which is perfect. That's what we want. So you fold two of the wires on the same side. I don't know if you can see that very well. I folded the two that I'm holding, and we're gonna solder to these other two. That's the gist of it. That's the whole plan. So very similar to the other barrel connectors, we're just gonna solder one wire to each, and we should be good to go. This also doesn't need to go all that far. As you can see in the completed one, it needs to just kind of wrap around. I'll go with 1.5 inches, because why not? Just to give you an exact-ish amount of wires. So 1.5 inches before I strip the wires. And this time I'm going to pull these apart and not try to strip them together, because that was, I guess, too difficult. But the same process of stripping, tinning, and then just soldering black to one, red to the other. Pretty easy. But keep firing away with questions, or like, which do you think is better questions, because that's cool too. I have opinions on a lot of different planes / programs or stuff, but fire away if you have questions. You might get me rambling again. So if you want to see me just finish this head tracker, I don't know if you'd want to ask questions, but that's just joking. Okay, that might be actually a little too much. I'm gonna trim this down. Ooh, pull the thread out. There we go. Very nice. Also, the heat just kicked on, and it's right underneath my desk, and I'm getting so warm because I've just got all these lights on and everything, but we'll soldier through. What do we need to do? Why does that... Oh, these wires aren't soldered at the end. I'll fix that in a bit, but all right. Soldering wires to this. Yes, I'm not distracted. This time I'm going to make sure I solder both wires, or at least prep both wires. Again, I can't wait to fly. If you had to pick a jet, so this might be a little biased, because we've only ever had one jet, and that's the F-15 Eagle from E-flite. It's a really cool plane. I haven't personally ever flown it, but I've seen it flown, and it's really cool. And you can add things like flaps and rudders. So if you want to buy a plane where you can immediately do cool mods to it, I'd go with the F-15 Eagle. We have one video of it flying, but that's only because I've got to build up the courage to fly it myself. Because it's a jet, I haven't flown jets at all. I've flown only prop planes, and that's just, there's no like reason against it. But at some point I'll for sure get a nice big EDF and throw probably a better camera in there and head tracker and all that jazz. But yeah, I'd go with the Eagle, because that's also in, I think that's actually free in the simulator. So I've flown the Eagle a lot in the simulator, just none in real life. So the Eagle is pretty cool. It's a 4S. It rips. It goes super fast. It's an EDF, and it's not huge. It's not like one of those massive ones. And that's also why I like it, is because those bigger planes, I just feel like if you crash a huge plane, it's just a punch to the gut, and you've got to deal with that. If you crash a small plane, it's like, I can fix it for not that expensive. But that's just my 2 cents. Let's see. It looks like I've got it soldered this way with red on top. I'll just follow that same cadence. So I will clip this in. Again, handy dandy hands are really nice. And we're not even going to use these 2 other sides, so feel free to just, do whatever. It was red on top, which means black down below. I'm still waiting. It's American Sukhoi. Yeah, the big crashes suck, but as long as you get it on camera, it's all worth it, because then you get to make a video about it, and that's fun too. So, yeah, I've seen that big blue one you're talking about, or I think it's blue, or at least one of the paint schemes you can get is blue. But yeah, I should tin and prep those pads too. But yeah, they're pretty cool, and they fly so fast, which I guess that's the whole point. They're a jet, they go fast. But compared to like the Corsair, like even that would be cool to fly together. But I think you would just smoke me like we couldn't fly together for that long, because you'd just be off to the races. I could taste that. The solder. Sorry. Don't you use O3 on your FPV drone? Yes, I've got on the quad cam. It's an O3 air unit. It's awesome. So once I eventually put FPV or the digital head tracking in the Corsair, I'm going to use an O3 air unit, or whatever plane I put a head tracker in. I will be using an O3 air unit. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but it's so cool on the quadcopter, and I think it'd be awesome to use that on a plane. The reason that I've been sticking with analog for so long for the head tracker is the whole goal initially was to make this as cheap as possible. So if anyone wanted to try it, they could with a very low bar of entry. But yeah, how do you power it? How do you power the O3 air unit? It's just through the battery. I think it's powered via PCB board, or a power distribution board. PDB, power distribution board. Either way, it's just powered through when you power the quad on. So there's no extra wires or anything. I'm done with big planes. The UMX series is too much to offer. Yeah. Gotta go run air. We'll leave streaming running. Maybe you stick around. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Know Your Joe. We appreciate it. Yeah, the big planes, they're so cool because you can add so many stuff. Like I could barely add a head tracker onto the Evo. We got a video about it, so that's another poll if you want an Evo. You can add a head tracker. But with the Corsair, you can add things like the gun lights and the head tracker and all the other things that I've got in the works that I may or may not talk about because they're really cool. But the big planes, I see I answered the question wrong. It's just, they're so cool when they're bigger. It's just, there's got more on the line. When big planes crash, the way more, they usually turn faster. Yeah, you're right. When they're bigger, they fly faster. They crash harder because they're going faster. That's just how it goes. But yeah, laminate my bigger planes. Interesting. Yeah, because I'm digging up the wings of the Corsair quite a bit just with the kind of rough landings. So that's a good idea, is to make it, or laminate those. Okay. I got a thought on this, but I'll answer one more question. How do you power it for a plane? You'd probably have to either have a separate external battery. Like for the Corsair, I've got 2 of these batteries. One for the secondary receiver and one for the ultrasonic sensor. And since I've got 2, it's easy to find the center of gravity. Just put one on either side. You might have to do the same thing for the O3 air unit. You might be able to pull power from the main battery so long as you don't sag the battery enough to make it not fly. I would have to look into that more because, again, I haven't done it on a plane yet, so I don't have a great answer. But I think you get power the same way you get power for any of the other peripherals you add. I'm thinking about doing something I haven't done on the other 2 or 3 head trackers I've made. I think I made 2 or 3. But you see on this button, there is exposed wire, And in the past ones, I've just left it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I think on this one, I'm going to cut a little bit of heat shrink and put just a tiny bit on the end, just because it might help a little bit more. It's really not that much that I'm adding, but still, I'm just curious. It might help it, just protect it long term. I don't have a great reason why I didn't, but yeah, I'll just slide these on. And again, it's going to be a little loud, but I apologize. We're actually kind of getting near the end of the easy steps, which is just getting all these wires attached. So I'm going to heat shrink these again. And again, that's going to be hot, so I won't hold it from there. So even that much heat shrink might have been too much just for them to get out of the way. But you see, I added like half an inch. You could probably get away with like a 1/4 inch just to get it small enough to like fit everything in. By the way, did you get my comment on the short of the police officer? I offered some suggestions. I think I've been reading through. I haven't responded to all of them yet. But yeah, it's kind of a sticky situation with the police officer. Or like with the flying in the park, because on one hand, she is correct. There is an ordinance saying you can't fly RC. On the other hand, the ordinance is old, and so I don't think I would benefit, or the situation wouldn't get better from saying, no, you're wrong, I'm going to fly here. But yeah, I have contacted the Public Works Director as well as all the city council members and the mayor saying, hey, this ordinance were a little out of whack. We might be able to fix this a little bit. I don't know the exact suggestions you made, but if you bring them up, I can put my 2 cents on them. But yeah, it's a matter of I'm not bothering anybody, but the rules are in place, so we got to fix the rules instead of just flying, quote, illegally. But either way, it's just part of the process of just figuring out how to actually fly. On the ordinance side of things, maybe I haven't seen that yet. On the ordinance side. Oh, were you saying if it was under a certain amount of weight? I think I did see that actually. Yeah, I made those same suggestions of saying if it's underneath the 250 grams like the FAA has in place, then just let it fly because they're small and tiny and shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, these are some good points. I kind of outlined what I think the ordinance should be in my suggestion to all these people. But yeah, having more ideas and more people trying to change this, because at the end of the day, I wasn't really bothering anybody. So I think it should have been fine, but I don't want to tell a police officer, no, I'm going to keep flying, I would have raised it under 301 grams. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, if they're that small, and I looked it up, and like football is way more than my plane, or the Evo, or the Crescendo, or the Voodoo. Voodoo's a cool plane too, by the way. It doesn't weigh that much. Oh, and the reason that the Public Works Director, I'm also, by the way, going to make a part 2 of that police video of where I'm going to go over everything I've done since then to like contact people. So this is a little sneak peek of that. But the Public Works Director said it's a matter of what to expect in a park. Like, if you get hit by a Frisbee, that's an expected thing that might happen. Like, you're in a park, people are playing, you might get hit. It's not an expected thing to get hit by a plane, which is what he said. It's a safety thing of you wouldn't expect to be hit by a plane. And it was also a matter of liability. Like, who would, or was it liability? Yeah, if you're flying in the park and it's allowed, then the city would be liable for any damages because you're flying in a park. I just said, why don't I just sign something or put up a sign saying you're liable for all FPV plane-related injuries? To me, it seems like if that is the thing we're waiting on, that's not really a thing we should be waiting on, because like we can just be adults about it. If you hit somebody, it's your fault. Like that. To me, that's not very difficult. But we are getting sidetracked. We have the button in, and I'm trying to see, because again, we've got this little USB port on the end, so that's going to go this way. I'm just trying to make sure all of this still fits in with this extra heat shrink and kind of bend these wires out of the way. It can go up like this. And now it's going to be the fun part, which I also mentioned in the video. This is the hardest part. I actually can take this out, the button out, after I just installed it. I can take it out and solder it in. It might be easier. And then reinstall. Okay. So at this point, the value is arbitrary. Go for as much weight as you can. Push. Also, the rear pusher plane. Take a couple of planes. So you go. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's true too. If you have a pusher plane instead of a puller plane, the props in the back, um, it might be a little safer. That's a good point as well. But now, on this head tracker, we are on the part where we are going to be soldering, and it's going to be a lot of little soldering because we've got, if you were to look at the tutorial itself, we've got to solder everything onto this board and have it fold in. As you can see, this board just folds in, like all these wires, so it's keeping the board attached. So it's got to attach and then still fit so it can slide onto the goggles. So like we've got to be pretty compact with our wiring here. So I'm just going to try to match this as best I can, which means this is going to go here, that's going to go there. And we're going to start with the, looks like ground and power. So coming from these two, they're going to go on these two pads. Now that means it's going to be like this, so I'm actually not going to start there at all. I'm going to start with these two wires that I haven't prepped yet, which are coming from the audio jack. Come on. All right, getting these all prepped. Okay. Let's see. Go get now. Wish you all the best. Oh, sounds good. Thank you so much for watching. Maybe the style of mini Aero Scout, but 4 channels with flaps. Yeah, that'd be cool. Coming to my park. Yeah, I will. Once I can fly again. So what I just say, we're going to start with the audio cables because those are a little longer and on the correct side. I'm trying to twist these together a little bit just to make sure that they are staying together. And then it looks like for the audio cables, we need that for audio jack power in and audio jack ground. So we've got power in, and that is on the, from the top 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be this one. This part might be a little harder to see because I'm doing really small soldering, but I'll do my best. It's the third from the top. Again, if you want to actually like do this yourself, I'd recommend going to our actual video where I show really close-ups. I just don't have that set up right now, but still, it should be at least fine to talk through. So I'm going to get power from this audio jack here and go here. Actually, I can see a little bit of these wire is sprayed out. So I'm going to kind of trim this so I don't have any extra dangling power going to place I don't want. So just be careful with your wires. But still, we're going to connect this here. Let's see. Another thing, because this case is so tight to the board, none of the wires can go out from the board. They all have to stay on top of the board, which is part of the fun. So I'm going to have this wire go over the middle of the board like this. Make sure that's the signal. And I'm going to go there and solder it so it goes in over the board. If I can get this board to stay. All right. Didn't want to sit by itself. Just clamp it in. So we're gonna go here and hold down this. Yeah, you can kind of see, kind of can't. That. That needs more solder. There we go. And then the ground, oh, that's not right next to it. It's way over on this side. So there's a communal ground pad. You won't be able to see it, but there's a little white pad on this left side, which is where the ground goes. Did I give myself enough space? I did. I just got to get this board in the right orientation. Okay, I can also, where is my double-sided tape? I can just tape this board down since it's in the way. Okay. There we go, stick it in place. Now I can actually move this and get the wires in place. Okay, that should be ground, at least for the signal wire. So you can see we got 2 in so far, and this is going to fold right on top, which is looking good. Making sure things are still looking nice there. What else do we got? We have the button power, which is, I can probably do that. This is the first time I've soldered this button on without it being in, so that's should be easier. Maybe I should update the actual video to say that, but either way, the button ground goes to that same ground, and then the button in is right next to it. So that's going to be fun, but not that difficult, hopefully. So just solder up the pad right next to it. There we go. And we will go needs more solder. That shot was probably very military, very army. Okay, and then ground goes to that ground that we just used already. Communal ground, I call it. So that looks just fine, I think. That's our button wired in. And then last but not least, we have the what? Oh, the power wires. Right, and those go on that side up here. And that's going to be fun to get those wires around. So we have to get red. Red is the first pad and ground is the second pad. Shouldn't be that crazy. Okay, down to our last bit of good solder. We've got red on the top. So again, we have to have these wires go in and not out, if that makes any sense. So I might actually rotate this board around so I can get maybe a better angle at it. But we've got red here. I'm going to curl these up. And I apologize if it's hard to see. It's just kind of the nature of this. It's really getting tight. It's hard to even see it for me who's soldering. But try to go up this side. Okay, red's in. And then we just got black, which again, it's hard to see, but if you want to follow along on the actual video tutorial, it's a lot easier to see and you'll actually be able to tell like what I'm doing, because I understand that right now it's probably not the easiest thing in the world to see. Okay, that should be on there, and you can see all of our wires should be connected just fine. I could even take our multimeter and do a quick continuity test to make sure these pads aren't going to short out anything. So again, continuity mode, and if I touch these together, we get a sound. And so if I touch the power and the ground on this board, we shouldn't get anything. So power and ground, nothing. Good. That means we haven't shorted out anything, or if we have yet to find it. Oh, we're at 1001. Let's go. Road to 2000. So I could actually test this right now. Do I want to? I suppose it wouldn't hurt. I'll kind of clean up here for a second. I'll turn the soldering iron off. I can test this with the Corsair Canopy head tracker because that's the easiest system I got for testing right now. And the beauty of it, all I need is the battery, which should be here, and then the transmitter will connect to it. This would be a great time if I had the full desk, but again, for whatever reason, it's frozen at that. Actually, here, I'll try something really quick. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll go back to the old, let's see, I'll switch to this view, which should be nothing, and I'll switch it back to the camera. Is that working? Is that on? Okay. That's this angle, not what we want. My other camera. Okay, there we go. Now we've got top camera. Just had to do the old what's it called? Restart. So now we do even have zoom in camera. Oh, we do. Wow. Road to 2000. Let's go. Yeah, thanks. So power on transmitter.
Welcome to HTS.
I guess I could even rotate this so you can see from my angle. Sorry if that made you want to throw up. But then we've got the audio jack and the power. So I guess first I'll just give this power. And hopefully this shouldn't short and this shouldn't break, but I will go back to here. As you can see, I've got just the normal DJI battery. Why is that? That's not. Hello? Why is the close-up now not working? Okay. No, that's the top view. Can we have normal front view back? Okay, that's my wife. Great. Can we please have camera view back? No, not screen record. Alright, we'll switch back to this view while I figure that out, although that's not working either. Just go back to camera. Full desk. Yeah, so that's my lock screen. Awesome, thanks. Can that please go back to being my camera? Top. Nothing like a little bit of Technical difficulties. Okay, sweet. So for whatever reason that just happened, you got to see my home screen. Lucky you guys. But I'm going to now power in this head tracker, which again we just tested isn't getting shorted anywhere. So that should hopefully pretty smooth. All right, cool. We're getting power, we're getting signal, we're getting all that stuff. Sorry, Walker Road, and I mean for you to see that, but all right, I'll power that down because it looks like it's working just fine. And then the beauty of this is that you can plug in the trainer port to the transmitter. And this is just going to be testing to make sure it's working. Which, then if we power this on, we should hear something from this transmitter that says the trainer is connected.
Trainer connected.
Trainer connected, perfect. And then, so that's going to be giving signal to this head tracker once I plug this in. It should connect. There we go. So we can see it moving. It just needs to be kind of fine-tuned a little bit. But as you can see, it is giving signal. But that's fine. We can fine-tune the actual movement of the head tracker later on. But it's working. That was the whole point of that
Trainer
test.
signal lost.
Trainer signal lost. That's expected. So we can move all this stuff back out of the way because we can tell that it is working. Then if I go back to just this, hopefully glad there's only a couple of you there that saw that. But what else do we need? We need to actually install everything and kind of cram it into the case. So that should be the easier step. What I'm going to do first is get this reset button. I should have tested the reset button. But I'm going to put that in up top here with the help of some tweezers to get it aligned. Which it was just aligned, and then I moved it. Okay, that's in there, and now it's really a matter of just making sure this fits. So you can see I'm just going to take it like this and bend the whole board up, making sure not to pinch any of the wires. And then if I squeeze the USB port into the side and then gently push down, making sure nothing is getting pinched. I can also peel off this double-sided tape. And hopefully if the button stays in, did that come out? Maybe a little bit. And then just gently push this in. And we just need to get it pushed in far enough that we can slide this back casing on. Again, custom 3D printed, so you don't need any extra screws. There's just the screws that come with your goggles. Use that to hold the head tracker in place. And then we can just make sure this is down and out of the way. And then slide this on. It looks like we might have to do a little bit of cleanup here on the solder joints. They did kind of fall through, which is fine. I'll try to clip them off. That might work. Might have to do some resoldering. Just launch that somewhere. As you can see, all I'm doing is, since these solder joints kind of pop up a little bit, I'm just cutting them off because the solder's on the other side anyways. But that allows this back casing or housing to fit really well. And again, you're going to launch these somewhere, so just be careful. Probably a better way to do that, just in terms of cleaning it up, but whatever. I'll just do it that way. Make sure the button can still click, as long as you push this in enough, which might also require a little better cable management on the back side. So that's why you don't want to use like way too much cable, because you're going to have to fold it all behind this board here. So I'm going to just see if there's anything that's immediately in the way. I don't think so. So I'm just going to get back at it, try to push this button in, because everything, you could glue this button in, but I usually just leave the board to kind of friction it in place. And then if I slide, ooh, that's going to be tight. That's because this isn't in place. And then it's just a matter of getting this in. Oh, that's still a little off. So again, there is a little, oh, there we go. Now I got to push far enough in, and this should slide on, and that's our head tracker. So you can see, got the button on the side for resetting. We've got our plug, and this is going to go right into the side of the goggles. As you can see here, you can screw it right into this side plate. So this is the DJI Goggles V2. This is where my normal head tracker just slides. I'm going to go flying. I just clip it on both sides, just like that, and then we're good to fly. You can plug all the wires. It's really easy. This one's in black. It does look really cool. Just side note, if you want black, it matches really well, but I like my gray one just because it's the first one I've ever made, so I'm going to keep with the gray one. But if you want black again, just let me know. We're almost done. We are just missing this really cool adapter, which is how you connect power. Because normally, if you want to fly with just the Digi adapter, it comes with a it goes from 1 barrel to 2 powers, as you can see here, which is fine if you're going straight from battery to Digi adapter. But in our case, we are going power to Digi adapter to also head tracker. So in our case, we've got to have a plug that is the exact right distance. I'll show again. Agreed, I need that file, yeah. Come on, you. Okay, so as you can see, head tracker's on, and then you go to fly, you plug in one to the Digi adapter, or if you're using digital, you won't need to do this, but one there, one into the goggles itself, and then one into the head tracker. And just like that, everything's got power, everything looks real nice. Hopefully full desk is still working. It's not, that's great. We'll go back here. But yeah, we need to create this adapter, which is really easy. With thankfully that the barrel connector set that we got for this project, it's the same connector set that works. I mean, obviously that's how they connect into this. So what we're gonna do is take 3 of these male sides, and we are really onto the home stretch here. We just passed the difficult part. If you're making this yourself, the hard part is getting all those wires in. Like once you're here, you're doing great. So take 3 of these male ports and then get rid of all this. Again, this is linked in the, we've got links for it. So what we're gonna do is plug these into the camera. Make sure you're not using any battery here. We're just getting the wires the right length, but you're gonna plug one into each of the 3 ports you need. And then we're gonna manually create this sort of shape that you want. So I'm gonna go like this, and like this. So as you can see, we are going to solder them together roughly right here. And that's pretty much the whole gig. We're gonna make sure everything is nice and tight and tucked in. And then we're just gonna cut all of these wires in this roughly right here-ish. This part is a little more up to however much extra length you want before that first port. But once I find my other wire cutter, just hopefully I can get this in one quick cut. Close enough. Okay, so as you can see, this is all extra wire. Again, it's really nice wire, so don't waste it. But we're just gonna solder these 3 wires together. Just black to black to black, red to red to red, and then add some heat shrink, and then one more barrel connector so that we can connect it to our camera. So you can see we're gonna add one more of these, and then that's gonna be the whole apparatus here, just like that. So it is gonna be 4 wires soldering together, but it's really not that bad. So you can take all these out of your camera system. Again, I apologize. I don't know why. I got this all set up before I started streaming, and then now Full Desk is just frozen at whatever screen that is. So we'll stay here for now. No big deal. We just have a little bit of soldering left to do, and then we'll be all done. So I'm gonna just just separate a little bit at the end. I'm not going to separate it all up because like in the other adapter I've already made, this is going to stay together. Like this is what we're trying to make. So we don't need to split this wire all the way up. We just need to make this little end part, or the end cap. I wonder if it'll even be easier to strip off the ends here. I think I did that actually in the other video. I stripped off this wire and soldered it directly there. I'll probably do that. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. But in the meantime, we're going to strip these wires off a little bit. And then actually strip them, which this would be an actual stripper, would be super handy because these are kind of thick wires. But I'm going to strip a little more because we're soldering so many wires together. It's going to be nice to have a little slack to work with in terms of exposed wire. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more. See, that's a lot, or that's a bit more than I would normally strip off, but it makes it easier. It's 2. Ugh. Whoa, that's a lot, but that won't be an issue. We are going to be heat shrinking everything anyways, so no real harm done. All right, those are our big wires. The big wires are a lot easier to strip, I guess, compared to the tiny wires. But I'm going to take our end barrel connector, and as you can see here in this, the first one I made, I stripped off this barrel like we did to screw it into the head tracker itself. So I'm going to do the same here with just stripping off this heat shrink. Might be enough. Yep. And then stripping off this. Okay. And then just a little more of desoldering, so I'll turn the soldering iron back on. Still 1001, so obviously people don't hate us yet. So that's nice. But thankfully the soldering iron turns on really quick, so we don't have to wait a lot longer. But I will put this over here and desolder this out. Geez, 57 views so far. What am I doing? Taking this off. Oh, I'm on the wrong side, that's why. Yep. Red and black should be just the same. Okay, so now this time we're soldering a lot more wires to a lot smaller a piece, but thankfully we are not constrained by any sort of like, we can make this take a little bit more space if we need it to. So I'm going to use this other big thing of solder so I'm not wasting anymore, but we're just going to be tinning all of these wires and prepping them and making them look nice, which shouldn't take very long, but it's still going to be 8 wires. One. It's also where it would be nice to have a fume extractor because a lot of stuff. Get that away from me. Okay, those aren't great, but they're probably super hot. Yup. Okay, I'll call that good for now. I'm going to try to twist these wires so they don't end up as kind of frayed as that other side. Okay, now get them in the flux and soldering them again. Now you could probably use a little less, or like cut off a little less than I did, but it'll work. That's 2. Oh, man, does not smell good because of that solder. Man. Oh, I did not twist those, but they're kind of already too late. Man, a lot of solder in here. Neighbors probably think I'm smoking the devil's hooch over here, but I'm not. I'm soldering for planes. Okay, we'll try to trim off any of these little stragglers before we start soldering, just so we don't get any annoyance. Like this one, I'll probably even trim it back. Alright, but this is probably the second hardest part of this whole process, and that is soldering these 3 wires onto this one small pad. We can do it. I think there's something else I need to do before I do that. What is it? Heat shrink. Yes, this is more important for heat shrink, or this is maybe equally as important. We need to add heat shrink onto these wires so that once they're all combined like this, they're not accidentally touching. So you can see we've got them on the outside of that one, and we can't put heat shrink on after the wires are attached because that's not how things work. So I will split one of these a little wider. That is a really short wire. That'll be fine. Yeah, I'll put heat shrink, and we're gonna need a bigger heat shrink because it has to cover so many wires. So maybe even one like one of these size guys. So it goes over everything. Cut it like this. Even that is going to be kind of tough to solder, but that's okay. So I will just add a whole ton of flux and tin to this top bar. That's where we're going to be soldering to. So, starting with 1. All right, that was smooth. Now 2. I can actually split these a little bit more, since they're going to have to go to other sides anyways. No big deal. It's a great metallic eat. Oh. Was I foolish? All these wires are going to be together before I can even heat shrink them. Just put that through there. And then lastly this side. Hopefully this heat shrink is big enough so I don't have to unsolder that first one. But if I do, it's not really a huge loss. I'd rather figure that out now than a couple minutes. Yeah, okay, I'll just unsolder this. Take out that heat shrink, get a bigger one. Maybe is this the biggest one? Was that the biggest one I have? No, I got a bigger one. Okay. Cut this down a little bit. And then I'll fish all 3 of these black wires through the heat shrink before we solder them so that once they're on, we can heat shrink them down. How did I do this in the past? Why do I feel like I'm doing it a harder way? I don't know. There are multiple ways to skin a cat. No offense to all the cat lovers out there. Okay, that's one of them on. I'm going to add more solder. Dang. Unsoldered it. One was soldered on, but then I farted around too much. Now this solder might get a little uglier than all the other stuff, just because we're dealing with such a lot of wires and a very tight space for having 3 wires connected. But as long as they're together. Man, that doesn't look great. I wouldn't want that if that was mine, so I will make it better. Okay, how are those on there? That'll be fine, I think, unless this heat shrink already shrunk, in which case well, that's the ground anyways. I'm trying to remember, how did I do this? Did I heat shrink these together and then attach them? That way I could have heat shrink. Maybe I did that. I have the video right next to it. I'm not going to look at it out of principle at this point. Okay, well, maybe I'll just solder these wires individually together, and then I'll attach them to the very hot end. Man, that part's still very hot, which might not be surprising since I was just touching a very hot iron do it for a long time. So I'm going to try to solder these 3 together like this. I wonder if I would have twisted them together when they were still frays. Or, you know, like, not together. Got 2 of these arms, why don't I use them? All I'm trying to do is solder right now 2 wires together. been going for? Is there a duration somewhere? I don't remember what time I started. Okay, those two are kind of together, but this third one should just cement everything together. Hot. Still very hot. I wonder if I switch to a bigger tip. Wow, that is hot. Let's see. That's probably a bad idea. Or a good idea, but just a bad time to do it. If I had better tin. See how much better that stuff just kind of flows. Alright, I'll try this other stuff. Did you ever watch the past flights? Yes, I do. It's fun just to look back at flying with, different people or different places. Or flying. Like, I've watched the original head tracking Corsair video many times just to say, like, yeah, it's hard to fly. Or it's hard to, like, get it going. But it's just so fun to see the results. Okay, that finally kind of globbed together how I wanted it. So, it's going to be hot, so I'm not going to touch it like I did last time. But I'm going to try to get heat shrink on there a little bit better than I did for the black wire. So I do want this to be protected. Now I just got to attach this red glob up there. I'm even going to try to stretch out this heat shrink a little bit. Yeah, it's once it actually, like, once the project is in the air and flying, it's like, okay, that was super fun. It's just a matter of getting it into the air, which is usually the sketchy part. Yeah, you do make less mistakes. Like the first time I tried to fly the Corsair, I tried to take it off like an Evo and like goose it and pull back. And that does not work with a tail dragging World War II style plane, which made me kind of float up and flew really poorly. But then, yeah, as you go on, you realize you got to keep like the nose down. You got to keep this and that. And it does get easier to go as you fly more and you learn more about the planes. Which is like life, if you want to get philosophical with it. Okay, this time, so we got this big glob on the red, which is good, but the heat shrink didn't shrink, so I can push that all the way up to the end. The black, oh, is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, so both sides now have heat shrink. We're going to add each of these heat shrinks, and then we're going to add one big piece over this whole casing, so it stays good. Warbirds hate me. They are very finicky, and like, I don't think I've got the center of gravity on the Corsair perfected yet. On my last flight, it felt just weird, and it wasn't that windy. But I got two more heat shrinks, and then we'll be just about done here. Okay, that's that, and then I'm gonna add one more. Now remember with this one, we don't have big enough heat shrink to actually fit over this, but that's fine because if you have heat shrink that's a little too small, and I think this is the biggest and widest piece we have. Oh, is that one bigger? Okay, a little bit, but either way, it's still not going to be the right size. You can take a big needle nose and just slowly stretch it out to make it just bigger, and it'll still retain its shrinking ability. But we're just going to gently pull it apart, rotate, pull it apart, flip it, pull it apart. Now it can fit over everything, can it? And not only does this protect the wires, but it also makes it look a lot cleaner, so you're not seeing all these crazy joints. You're just seeing one. Go right to the end here. And once it's nice and flush, then I'm just going to heat shrink this, and we should be just about done. All right, got that all protected on that side. T28, that sounds familiar. Is that yellowy plane, or am I thinking of something completely wrong? T28. Yes, that is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, that one would be really cool too. It's got a super huge canopy, so that'd be really good for like the 360 or the digital head tracking that like spins around a little more, because then you can see even more behind you. But yeah, that one would be cool too. I think, barring something small that I can't think of, we're also at 1002. Let's go. I think we're just about done here. Minus like fiddling with the actual software of this board and making it less twitchy, but that's something that's easier to deal with. I'll test with my head tracker just because it's already on there, but it's exactly the same like that. So if we have the long wire going to the goggles, the second long wire or longer wire going to the goggles, or the actual goggles, third wire going to head tracker. Is that right? Did I get those backwards? Either way, you have 3 plugs and you've got 3 ports. There and there. Yeah, there we go. So now all these wires are nice tucked away, and they go straight down onto your goggles, and you can still power it with the DJI battery that it comes with. But that is, I think, I wonder which one. But like I can watch the footage back and see which one is actually supposed to be here. Maybe it's this one. But either way, you can see that it's really nice and compact, and everything hangs straight down from, and I guess I could even give a proof test and just plug in my actual battery and show you that the Digi adapter will light up, the head tracker will light up, and the goggles will turn on all at the same time. So power this on. We've got power into the head tracker. We've got the digital, or the Digi adapter turning on. You can obviously hear the fans of the goggles. But that's our little custom adapter we made, which it comes with the head tracker. Maybe, I don't know. You could probably make it yourself, but I'd be happy to make a little add-on if you want this adapter too, because I have mine and I really like it, and it's super simple. But that's pretty much, you can see all this extra flux kind of heat. But excuse me, we have a brand new head tracker that, minus a little fiddling, looks really good. It's black and it looks really slick with the head tracker, or with the goggles. We've got our adapter, and that's really all I have planned for the stream. It's all done. minus, again, more fiddly stuff, which I can't do on stream because of the computer. But that's all I got. I'll say one more thanks to the 4 of you who are watching. Thank you for sticking around and watching this process and also helping us get to 1,000 subscribers. So that's super exciting. I'm glad we got that on stream because that'll be a part of our channel forever, just making it to 1,000 subscribers. That's awesome. I'm going to end this stream here because I don't really have anything else to do. I guess if I could get the full desk working, I'll clean up. Maybe I'll do that on stream just to, have something else. But if I go here, let's see, can I get it so it doesn't display my camera? Correction, 1002. Yeah, you're right. Wonder why the top screen, I'll go desk view, no, iPhone camera. Okay, that's upside down ground screen, that's perfect. And then if I go back to my iPhone camera, is this working? Okay, sweet. So that's really all I have planned for the stream. I'm even going to disconnect the ground or the camera that was giving you that close-up view, and I'm just going to clean up. So you're welcome to hop off the stream. There will be no more head trackers being made. I'm just going to be cleaning up because this is what I'm going to give out to Pretend Pilot FPV. Thank you again for supplying this stuff to be made. But this is what you get back. The only thing that you need that I don't have is a audio jack or an audio cable that goes from here to all the other stuff. But this is yours. So I'll put that aside. I'm just going to be cleaning up. But thank you so much for watching. Stick around for more streams where I might be making more head trackers if more people want them. I know it might not be the most exciting thing to watch over and over again, but if I'm going to be doing it, might as well be streaming it and answering questions and talking about the fun planes. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad it turned around so quick. You said you were going to drop it off. I'm like, well, I can start printing out all the parts anyways. So it was a really smooth process. And yeah, we didn't really run into any issues, I think. I mean, it was all relatively smooth. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And unless you want to watch me pick up. But yeah, I can't wait to fly with you, especially with all this head tracker fun stuff. So yeah, again, if you're watching this and you want a head tracker of your own, I'll probably, well, my Discord's always open. If you want to just like shoot me a message saying, hey, I want one, we can set up, price and all that fun stuff. I'll set a price and just, you can let me know, or I'll set up an Etsy shop so you don't have to go directly to me if you don't want. But it's super fun, and it's not the hardest thing. I don't remember how long this stream is, but it only took a couple hours. So, oh yeah. I mean, you can, hi to Argon Basalt, cool name. We just got done making a brand new head tracker from scratch using custom 3D printed parts and some code we had to do. I didn't do that on stream, but still had to do some coding to get the board working right. And now, I don't know why I'm watching. Oh, well, that's all right. I don't know if you need a reason, but feel free. Are you a big fan of FPV there, Argon Basalt? Also, you can say that you were officially a part of the stream where we hit 1,000 subscribers, because we did that earlier in this stream. So you can say now you're a part of it. So yeah, thanks for watching for that sake. Maybe it was fate, but you caught the very end of the stream where I'm just cleaning up all of the mess I made, because I'm going to have to clean it up anyways. I figured, well, might as well answer any quick questions people have about anything, because why not? But also, for those of you still watching, I thought about with somebody else a potential business idea of buying these battery canopies for all the different planes that are out there, and adding in maybe not a head tracking system, but just an FPV camera that's underneath the canopy, so that if you wanted to fly FPV like we do, even if it's not head tracking, you'd be able to just buy a battery hatch from us with a camera already installed, and it'll just be a wire that comes out and attaches to your battery lead, and then you could just pop this into your plane, plug it into the battery, and fly with FPV. Super simple. And since there's tons of warbirds already that exist with cool battery canopies, or like canopies you can see out of, might as well fly FPV with them. And I don't know, it just involves a little bit of 3D printing. So I say a little bit. It's not going to be easy, but for example, if you're like, hey, I want to fly a T-28 and I want to fly FPV, but I don't really know how to. Yeah, well, thank you. I really like it. So, like, if you wanted to fly FPV and you didn't want head tracking, or maybe later down the road it becomes an option to get head tracking, you could just buy the battery hatch from Inverted Aviators RC. Might try it with the jet. Yeah, exactly. So, because all planes, or at least a lot of planes, have a battery hatch, might as well throw a camera in there and sell it. Just as you get the battery hatch, the camera, the wiring, you get that all done for you. Like, I don't know. That seems like it'd be at least a semi-worthwhile endeavor, because there's tons of different planes. Then whenever a new plane comes out, we could just, buy the battery hatch, sell it. That would also be part of, like, the Inverted Aviators Discord, or not Discord, Etsy shop. Would just be, like, keep adding more planes and more battery hatches, and then eventually head trackers with those battery hatches. But that's just an idea. I've actually started, the guy who I came up with this with, he called me the other day and he was talking about a Zero that he got, a World War II Zero. And he sent me the battery hatch as well as the battery hatch for a Corsair. He's like, if you can print also like the dashboard and have like the gear and the flap lights, like that seems like it'd be pretty cool. I've done manuals in the past, so I could whip up one of those. See, that would be really cool too. Like if you get a little way to pop it in. Yeah, so that's just an idea I've been mulling around with, just something to add on to the content that you'd be getting. You could also potentially buy the stuff we're using. But yeah, that's I'm done. That's the stream. I have nothing left. Those are also my ideas. So I'll even turn that off to signal that I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around for so long. It's been a couple hours, I think. I don't really know. Usually these streams last about 2 hours before my project is either done or so broken that I couldn't ever do anything with it. But that's the stream. Good plan. Thank you so much for watching. I'll try to get this head tracker to you whenever I see you again, or if you just want to stop by and I can hand it off to you. But